Sammy, thank you very much for joining me, brother.
Thank you for having me on, mate. I've always wanted to come on for a while, and I thought I'd reach out, and now this is a perfect time, right?
Yeah, the perfect time. I mean, it's one of them. Like we could do a podcast anywhere at any time and have loads to talk about. But then when you get a situation like this, people are sort of stuck about what to do, and I'm like, this is the time we connect, we talk, we share, and the podcasts were made for situations like this.
Exactly, exactly. It's a lot more easier for people to communicate as well, and yeah,
Yeah,
now's the time.
yeah. You had a birthday yesterday, so happy birthday.
Appreciate that, man. Really
That's a
do.
good one, mate. Just, I mean, a summer birthday, you like a late spring summer birthday is lovely. And in this scenario now, it doesn't make it good, but at the same time, you're free and everyone's available. So you got to see people you care about, which is what it's all about, eh?
Yeah, mate, for sure, for sure. How have you been coping anyway, dude? I've been watching your videos of your dad, and you're showing us you. Oh,
Yes, situations like this are really good for me in that a lot of what I do is outdoors and I paraglide and I base jump and I fish a lot and all that sort of stuff. So because I spend a lot of time, I write a lot. I write a lot of comedy. I'm in the
yeah,
middle of writing a book. I'm writing a little TV thing at the moment as well. So because I do that, I don't ever get enough time to do it because if I've got like four guys fighting, that'll always be my priority. And I find myself going to work, coming home, going to teach a class, coming home at 10 o'clock at night, eating some food, and not really spending any time writing, or what I do write, I'm not really happy with. So now is like a brilliant time for me. This would suit me every day, just being able to just do the stuff that I feel most productive doing. So I can't really complain.
that's it, mate. And it's also this where you place your attention is where you place your energy, right? So obviously, when you're working all the time and you're having to help like people that have fights coming up and that, you're not you're thinking about what to do in that situation. You're not really getting the free thoughts that you would get when like for example, if you go on holiday or something, and you can think a little bit clearer because you're not thinking about work, you're not thinking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
what happened there. So these thoughts just naturally come in, and you work with it.
Exactly, and it's not a cliche, but being punched in the head is not good for coming up with creative ideas. It's really not. So when now that we're a few weeks away from anyone, no people have fought a few weeks ago, so we're a few weeks off the back of that.
Yeah,
There's been no contact for a while, and I'm just like I feel at my best creatively right now. That's not to say that I'm not a poet laureate or anything, but everyone's creative if they can lock into it. And I feel at my best like right now. These situations, I would like to go paragliding and I would like to go fishing, but I like the worst comes to the this ain't a bad scenario to be in, really.
of course, mate. And all those other aspects of your life, you're just going to be working on them, right? So what
Exactly.
work? How's your writing coming along for your comedy? How
It's,
you?
I mean, it's good because I
Yeah,
can write loads. Whether I'm happy with stuff, I don't know because I don't like. I had a long process before of writing loads of stuff. Then I
yeah,
went and did some comedy. Then I got a fight booked. Then I wrote loads. Then I went and did some comedy. Then I got a fight book, and it's no good. You need to be testing it and tweaking it because I've got all these bits that I don't really know if I'm going to enjoy doing. So I'm sort of chomping at the bit to really be going in and getting some stuff done. But you like I mean, I haven't even found my process yet, I guess. So,
how would you compare it to fighting, that whole sense of being up on a stage and having to perform in front of a crowd?
um, so for me, I think there's lots of parallels, lots of similarities, but I think fighting's really helped me in that I get up on stage and I think, well, what's the worst that can happen realistically? Even if someone got offended, got up and punched me in the face, I might have to have a fight. That would be terrible. But at the
Yeah,
worst case scenario, the worst thing that happens, people could boo me off stage. I think that'd be hilarious. I think
yeah.
that would be hilarious to be that bad that people don't want you on the stage anymore. That in itself would be comedy.
Oh, mate, I'd be character building at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, I'm not lying. I probably wouldn't sleep that night. I'd be at home in bed just tossing and turning. But
Um,
what
so
about you? So people who don't really know, who are on the audio, they don't really know loads about you. I would say you're a calisthenics guy. You're like a body weight guy and stuff. So I think maybe if you tell people a bit about what you do. Obviously, you're an MMA fighter. You've been doing a bit of MMA and stuff as well. But if you tell people what you believe that you do or what it is that you want to represent, and then people can get a sort of an idea of who they're listening to.
Okay, cool. So, um, I've been a personal trainer since I think 2011 when I started getting into personal training. But I started doing jiu-jitsu when I was 16, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And obviously I've been doing it from that age until now, and I've got a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. I spent years training jiu-jitsu under Pedro. Traveled to Brazil multiple times. I think 10 times in total I went to Brazil, and I'd stay out there and train, and yeah, I had a really good experience with that. And then throughout the years I started getting into calisthenics, which is, it's like a body weight workout. It's sort of similar to gymnastics, but without like the crazy swings. It's a little bit more I would say it's a little bit more hard, I would say, than just regular gymnastics, in the sense of you're not really using momentum for anything. So it's training on like a pull-up bar or a gymnastics rings or parallel bars. So I've been teaching that since 2014 when I started getting into it, and then the same thing. I would travel around the world. I'd go to Brazil, teach some workshops, and then went to Denmark to teach some workshops. And now I live in Denmark. I moved to Copenhagen just under a year ago, and I'm the calisthenics coach at 2 CrossFit gyms there, and just helping out some other gyms at the same time. So it's just what I specialize in is body weight movement, but obviously I've been training jiu-jitsu for a long time, boxed as well, had a few MMA fights, so it's loads of different styles combined together, but just using your body weight pretty much.
Yeah. So you the body weight thing like got popular, I think, few like probably 10, 15 years ago, with people doing like bar stuff, like people in New York parks and stuff, groups of black guys, they call it prison workout or bar workout. That's what made it popular, right?
That's exactly it. So the first person I saw was, I think it was Hannibal, some big black guy from New York, just ripped, and he was doing crazy, crazy maneuvers on the bar, and it was like, whoa, fucking hell, like, what's this workout? But it's old calisthenics. It's like, I think people used to do it in the 80s and that, because
Yeah.
I ask older people, and they're like, yeah, we used to do that type of stuff like back in the 80s. But obviously in America, it's been quite big, because it's obviously in the prison scene, because in the prison scene you don't really have gyms, do they? They have like a pull-up bar and like a dip bar, and you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's where like that kind of style came from, and then obviously people mixed it with gymnastics, and parkour got involved, and it just became different styles within the same thing, you know. But yeah, how I started watching it was with the from the brothers in New York, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. Because look, I mean, you've obviously trained with me. I'm quite strong, and like for my body size, and I can lift weights. But muscle ups, I can't do a muscle up on a bar. I'm like, it's so technical. People don't realize it. People think, oh, the strength, but yeah, okay, you've got to be strong, but the technique and just isolating certain parts to make the movement work and then make it work effectively. It's incredible how technical some of those movements are.
Oh, it's super technical, because when you see someone that makes it look easy, you go, "Oh, I can do it," and then you go to the pull-up bar, or you go to the rings or whatever, and then you're like, "Oh shit, I can't," and you like start to reevaluate life a little bit. You're like, "Oh, okay, shit, I wasn't as strong as I thought I was," and it really tests your strength. It really tests your strength. And for example, like a move like a muscle up, which is essentially a pull up combined with a dip, you're using so many compound muscles. It's just compound exercise. You're using everything, like muscles from your traps to your hip flexors to your toes. Because what people don't understand is, like, especially with calisthenics, if you're doing a movement, say like a pull up or a dip, a lot of the time people just isolate the top half of their body, and they let the bottom half of their body just be completely loose and limb. And that's not what you want to do. You want to be able to build up strength through like your core muscles and your hip flexors, going all the way down to your legs. So it becomes an isometric exercise as well as pushing or pulling, so that when you have to do certain movements, you already have that foundation and that strength of doing it with correct technique. So it becomes a lot more easier to learn.
Yeah, because I guess like people, I see it a lot. The way people move is amazing. How people struggle to make their body move as a cohesive unit. Like it's one body. You're completely attached from the tip of your toes to your head. But watch someone try and do a chin up, and they might as well be in like. Can you remember those snakes you used to get as a kid, and their body was all cut up into like loads of different bits, and you try and get it to. That's what people's bodies look like when they're trying to do a chin up. They're all going different ways, and it's crazy that people struggle to make their body just stay as a cohesive unit.
Just fuck, because they're not doing like their nervous system isn't probably the best. That's what it is. So like a lot of the time when you're seeing people like struggling and they're just, they're holding a position. For example, they do a bit of isometrics where they're holding a position, yeah, and just having their like muscle under tension. You can just see them shaking like that. But that's actually the skill within the strength, is being able to hold yourself while you're doing that. Because the next time that you do it, you already sent a message to your brain that you can hold it for X amount of seconds. And that's the real strength. It's not being able just to go 1 rep, 2 reps easy. It's when you that one and you're like, oh shit. You can just feel it throughout your whole body. It's almost like the vibrational wave goes up, It's harder. It's a lot harder, but it's good.
Yeah, it shocks me. So, what do you do any lifting now? Any like weighted lifting at all? Like any Olympic lift or anything, or you just do your pure bodyweight stuff?
No, I do squats and that for my legs, and I'll do weights for my legs. I'll do, because my normal routine would be wake up in the morning about 6:30, and then I meet the owner of the fight gym here in Copenhagen. His name's Frank. He's a really good guy, really, really good at jiu-jitsu, really smart guy, and awesome training partner. So I train with him in the mornings, and we go to the gym, and we'll do one day it'll be calisthenics, and then the other day he'll take it and it'll be kind of more like weighted. But we're doing light weights, but like high repetitions, like 5 sets of 15, everything.
Yeah.
So it's just to build up the muscle endurance, so I can take that with me to when I do my calisthenics. But I'll do legs mostly with the weights, but apart from that, I just like to do the calisthenics, mate.
Yeah. I mean, I've been a big proponent of Olympic lifting. A lot of my stuff's been Olympic lifting. I've been Olympic lifting for years. Had Olympic lifting coach, and I co-wrote that book on sandbag training. And I like the compound movements of Olympic lifting, and I like that they have a positive effect on my body because I'm sensible. I'm not putting. I'm not a massive proponent of CrossFit because I don't think you should load in the body for repetitions for speed. Like that's not it. It goes against everything that I think the body needs to do to perform. But I mean, I'm not going to win the CrossFit Games. And you look at some of these guys; they're athletes, but that's not. I don't. That's not for me. That doesn't shout long-term body goals, or I would imagine there's such a lot of injuries coming off the back of CrossFit and that sort of training soon enough, I would imagine.
Yeah, you might as well be living in purgatory. Do you know what I mean? Like, once you start doing that type of stuff, dude. I work at 2 CrossFit gyms, and I obviously help out with the gymnastic side of things. CrossFit gym here in Copenhagen called Kraftwerk, and Pools 180 as well. That's the 2 gyms I work at, and man, I see those guys lifting heavy weights all the time, man. Like so heavy, just reps after reps, and I'm thinking, man, your body can't take that, because obviously you want to train for like longevity, which is the end result. You want to be in your 70s being able to go, okay, I can still do a pull-up, I can still
exactly.
That's what you want. Like you can still be able to do a fucking triangle choke if you needed to. Do you see what I'm saying? Like be able to move. And I feel that with obviously with like body weight training, it doesn't put so much of a wreck on your nervous system living heavy all the time. Like I don't think that's good. I don't think that's good for you to be every workout just absolutely fucked, because
Yeah.
that is, you know. So it's kind of like, yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying,
Balance,
mate.
yeah, there has to be balance. And I mean, I'm like, I'll always lift some weights. It's like I love kettlebell stuff, and I've got a thing about loving cleans and snatch. I love cleans, I love snatch, and I'll always do them. But say I go to my heaviest on snatch, and I'll do like one rep and then leave it for 10 minutes, and I'll maybe do one more rep. Like it's not, I'm doing something because I enjoy it and I want to get something out of it. If it's not my end goal is to snatch competitively, I'm not going to push myself to do snatch and invoke injury. You know, it's just not. I'm going to train sensible.
Just end up slapping some shit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just something will go. But that's the thing. They're doing heavy reps for time, and they're fucking animals. They're monsters. It's a different type of training. But I know for a fact, as well as you, that there's no longevity in that training, because once the knee goes ACL, done. You know what I mean? Once fucking like shoulder goes funny, that's it, done. You ain't doing those kinds of lifts. Like you fucking like, you know, clean and jerk with some stupid weight, like fucking nuts. It's impressive, right? But at the same time, so much shit could go wrong with that.
definitely. I tell you what, though, mate. When if they start testing that sport, that's when we'll see. If they test that sport, that's when we'll see a change.
Dude, everyone's on shit on that. Like, I'm fairly strong, man, and yourself as well. And I see some of the stuff, and I go, man, like that's not. There's no way that you could do that without some sort of
Yeah,
help.
enhancements. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. They're all
definitely.
fucking massive, man. You look at the girls as well, and the girls, they're like
Oh,
fucking six packs are like concrete, dude. Just concrete.
I know. I know. It's crazy. I mean, I don't know if you were to say to me 10 years ago, or maybe a little bit when I was like a teenage boy, if you said to me when I was a teenage boy, draw me like a hot chick, someone you fancy, it would be like Pamela Anderson or something. But I see these girls now, but I'm attracted to them now. I'm like, wow, am I like, they're like mustier than me. What's turned the corner? When have I started? When has this become attractive?
Fuck, man, it's nuts.
Yeah,
Nuts.
there's some girls in some good shape. There's some guys in some good shape. I'm not. There's some guys in some good shape.
Uh,
So what else did you do growing up, mate? Were you sporting at all? Did you compete at anything as you were growing up?
yeah, man, I was really into sports. So I played football when I was younger a lot, and I was in a good football team. And then I started playing cricket, and then I got into the cricket team, which was really good. And then I was like, "Fuck that! It's boring as hell."
I
Like I'm not waiting to catch a ball. You know what I
was
mean?
literally, I was sat here thinking, fuck, now I've got to try and make cricket
Yeah.
exciting. How the fuck am I going to make cricket exciting?
It was terrible, man. It was, yeah, it was interesting. But then after that, I started skateboarding. So I've
Yeah.
been skateboarding since I was 12 years old. I haven't ridden a skateboard for the past year, but from the age of 12 until I would say 23, I skateboard all the fucking time. Like I'm talking every single day.
Yeah.
To get down College Green, because I lived 5 minutes from College Green at the time.
Yeah.
So I grew up skateboarding down College Green at the age of like 12, and around, the older crowds and that. So yeah, skateboarded for a long time, and then obviously got into jiu-jitsu at the same time a bit later on, and then the calisthenics.
Yeah, skateboarding, man. I was like one of those kids who always had a skateboard and was going out my back garden trying to ollie, but not ever like never. I mean, I was playing football at quite a high level. I was playing for free football teams, and I had loads of other things I wanted to do. But I always thought skateboarding looked really cool, but not enough to go and do it. Do you know what I mean? And but yeah, I always liked the lifestyle and the thought of being able to skateboard really well, and like graffiti came with skateboard and a lot of the graffiti in that, you know.
That whole street thing. So obviously the whole hip hop thing is graffiti, like skateboarding, like rap. You know what
Yeah,
what comes with that, like that whole kind of hip hop essence. But yeah, I love skateboarding, man. I was really like, I got to a point where I was pretty good. You know, we made like videos and stuff, and
Oh yeah.
all right, and like the people that I was around, a lot of them they were like sponsored, or my ex-housemate, he's sponsored by Adidas, you know,
Wow.
and so I was always around good people that could skateboard too. And yeah, it's good. You learn a lot from skateboarding because skateboarding reminds me of calisthenics in the sense of it's like skill based. So if I'm going to go do a skill maneuver and I want to like combine it in like with 6 or 7 different exercises, like a freestyle,
Yeah.
that's like me going, okay, I'm going to film this line skateboarding. So I do a trick and I do a grind and I do another trick and then I go down a set of stairs, but all in once. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can, there's a similarity with it for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Is like I always thought every time I was on a skateboard, I always thought, oh man, I'm gonna get injured here. I'm gonna get there's no I'm definitely gonna get injured here. I was always accident prone, and because I was playing football at a high level, I couldn't afford to get injured. But I always thought like, yeah, this is gonna injure me. I'm gonna break an ankle or something, you know?
Yeah, and unfortunately, along the way, those things happen. Like I broke my ankle 3 times. Like didn't get anything super bad apart from that, but you just like I don't know. It's more so you get to a certain point. Like now, for example, because I work with my hands, and if I go out skateboarding and I fucking fall over, concrete is an unforgiving surface. It doesn't care if it's white, black, purple. It's unforgiving. You fall over on that concrete, you're gonna bust your ass. You know. Be rolling around on the concrete in the winter. In the summertime, it's all right. You know, like oh, I got skateboarding and just skate a little ledge or do some flat ground stuff. Nothing too crazy, and it's fine. I'm not going to be dropping in and doing stuff on ramps because that's where you got more fucking chance of hurting yourself when you're trying to go down.
Yeah. No, I've like skateboarding's past for me now. Definitely, it's not like I don't think I'm at the age where you learn to skateboard now. If I already knew how to skateboard, that's cool. But I'm not at the age where you're learning to skateboard right now. I think my days of skateboarding are done.
It would be a little bit more harder, but yeah, imagine where dropping it on the ramps and
I'll stick to talking to people on Skype and stuff, you know.
that.
Uh, Yeah, so now you're out in Denmark. You know, like I've been to Denmark, been to Copenhagen. It's an awesome place. I can't believe I like it feels really like liberal and feels really like it just feels like there's opportunity. And when I say opportunity, that doesn't necessarily mean to go on and do something amazing, but just opportunity to just do nothing if you want. It just feels like Denmark just feels like when I've been there seems to be opportunity there. You know.
For sure, man. It's like a super nice place. Like the people are educated, not in the sense of educated as in like they went to school and that, but just like their manners, their morals. They seem quite friendly and they're quite welcoming as well. And you see how society runs here. It's like it's self-efficient in the sense of the streets are super clean
Yeah.
because time you pick up a can or like a plastic bottle, you can take it to the supermarket and get money. So if you were to buy like I don't know, if you went to buy a few bottles of water, after you drank the water, you could take it back to the supermarket and you get money. So any people that are kind of like poorer or maybe on the streets, they can just clean the streets, get their money, and it works like that. You see.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they used to have it in England, I think, back in the 70s, but they got rid of it, I think, because obviously they don't want people making their money over there about getting it taxed, right?
Yeah, and also, how can you can't charge me tax if
Yeah,
someone else is cleaning the streets for you and they're getting their money? Yeah, I think Scandinavian countries, Denmark, all places like that, Sweden, when I've been Sweden, they seem to be really forward, like they're forward in their approach for uh cohabiting and like in community groups and schooling. They seem to be like a lot more forward thinking than what we are and America seem to be.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. It seems like the way of life here is a little bit more calmer, whereas
Yeah,
England is a lot of like work. It's a bit more like work, and here it's like okay, a little bit more laid back the life, and and what comes with that, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we're all living under the guise of a democracy. We're all living under the guise of freedom. But I think you guys out there in Denmark, I think it's a lot closer to what you would want from a democracy and a freedom out there than it is out here, definitely. But people get blind. But people out here are just happy to earn their money, to have enough money on a Friday to go to the pub and stuff. You know, that's the
Where's that money going? They're paying taxes. Where's that money going?
yeah, exactly. Like what? Like, but why is people not? People aren't questioning. People aren't asking the questions. Like because people are happy to go to work, get their money, go to the pub on a Friday. And I mean, obviously, we're being super general here. Do you know what I mean, we're being
Oh,
super general. I mean, we're picking on certain people. I get this isn't everyone, but you know, we can't. If we moan about everybody, we're gonna be here all day. You know.
yeah, mate. That's how it is. It's like, well, you're you're not designed to sit in a car for 2 hours in the morning where there's traffic on the way to work. Your human body isn't designed to fucking sit in a car for 2 hours, go
Yeah.
into work, go into some job that you have to work. For some people, they have to do it. They're not happy at those jobs, and then it's like 9 to 5. Where was that decided that you need to fucking spend that much of your time working, probably around people you don't want to be around, and then fuck, man, like let's just give you some alcohol as well, just like start drinking and just people just operate at a lower vibrational frequency. That's what is kind of going on, and people are just okay, cool. If it doesn't, I don't care what's going on as long as I can like have my pint or I can just do this and I'm fine. They're not really looking at the bigger picture, man. And it's
No.
almost like, how long has this shit been going on for? Fucking hell. Like as a society, we've been getting fucked for years. Like I think it's time for us to do the fucking now. Like think about England, dude. That whole bullshit with Brexit. 4 years of fucking bullshit where people voted to leave. Right? Fair enough. They voted to leave. But the government was like, nah, you ain't leaving. Like, there you go. We're gonna fucking drag this out. And as soon as it's fucking done, past 4 years later, what do they give you? This fucking whole Corona shit, dude. Corona nowhere, dude. The English people just been getting fucked, plenty of time before that. But think about the last like 4 or 5 years, especially, man. There hasn't been too much progress, mate.
No, there's not. I mean, there's not a lot of progress, and I think as well, like people are so disenfranchised. Like you're not people. They're so divided. Like I see people who they might be conservative voters, and they're talking, and I'm listening to them. I'm like, you're not a conservative voter, and they're like, yeah, I am. I'm conservative from. Like you're not. Like, are you listening to what you're saying? Are you listening to what you're saying? What policies is it are you're agreeing with on this local? I voted conservative. I'm like, no. We're not having an argument here. This ain't an argument. You've decided you're a conservative voter. I don't want to I mean, let's not argue. You've decided you're a conservative voter, but from what you're telling me, you want from your life, your aspirations, your goals, the amount of money you earn. You're not a conservative voter. Why are you voting conservative? I've always voted conservative, and I'm like, man, you're lost. You're lost in the fact that this will never change. You believe it'll never change, so you keep doing the same thing whilst asking for change. And I'm like, what you got eventually at some point, someone's got to make the change, and that someone has to be everyone. I mean, I'm a bit maybe people call me hypocritical because sometimes I don't vote. I'm not one who votes for the simple reason I don't vote is because I think I'm like whoever I vote for is going to be a portional representation of what is that I want, and I'm like, how do I? Who's the person who's actually representing at least a majority of the things that I want? Because what you've given me is not even a major. Nobody represents a majority enough for me to say, okay, you can get a tick in my box. The system's flawed. The system needs to change.
Mate, these people can't spell conservative, let alone fucking conservative. And yeah, this is probably what their dickhead mate said, isn't it? Like, yeah, I'm just fucking vote conservative. Yeah, I'm gonna, because they do this or whatever. Mate, the Conservative Party don't give a fuck. Conservative when you had that witch Theresa May in the Conservative Party, she said that, okay, pedophiles should be allowed to adopt pedophiles.
Yeah.
This is the type of people that are, that are fucking running that shit. And here's the thing: why would you vote? Like, why would you vote? Because anyone, right? Everyone, for example, Tony Blair, right? Everyone that voted Labour and got Tony Blair in, right? Then Tony Blair went to war with Iraq, right, and killed fucking hundreds of thousands of innocent people.
Yeah.
Those people that voted they're an accessory to murder. They got the fucking blood on their hands. I don't want no blood on my hands, Wes, and I know you don't either.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, you can't, because if you vote for someone and that person goes to war with another country and kills innocent people, you had your part to play in that. No thanks.
But also, if you're willing to say, okay, yeah, no, actually, I support you going to war because actually it makes my life a bit easier. I'll have more money. If you like, you're a warmonger. I don't want our country to be at war, any country to be at war ever. But then I'm an idealist. I'm like, people call me a hippie, but that's like, people say like I'm a hippie, like it's an insult. Like I'll happily take that. Yeah, I happily want everyone to love each other and everyone to get on. That is exactly what I'm looking for from the world. But if you are willing to stand by and you say, oh, it's terrible, that war over there and this bomb and that, if you're willing to stand by and say all those things, but it makes your life easier and you benefit from it, you've got to understand you're a party to that. You're supporting that party. You voting for them. You become a party to that process. And it's all very easy to forget because we're like, yeah, but that's global politics. I'm just talking about local politics. I'm talking about UK politics. Like, it's the same shit.
Fucking thing, man. It's exactly the same thing, man. Exactly the same.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Just people people used to say to me, like, what, because I get labeled a conspiracy theorist all the time, which people who do that are stupid, because for me, I say to them, it's okay, name me the theory that I listen to. Name me the theory that I'm sold on. But on 9/11, I'm like, that's not a theory. 9/11's a date. They're like, yeah, but what happened at 9/11? I'm like, you haven't given me a theory. What's the theory? You're calling me a conspiracy theorist. There has to be a theory. You've decided the theory that what theory do I consign to? And they're like, oh, well, you think it was an inside job. And I'm like, no, I don't. No, I don't think it was an inside job. And they're like, oh, yeah, you do. You think it was like, no, I don't think it was an inside job. I'm like, listen, I'm a man of science and evidence. Do I trust the government? When I say the government, that's called global government. Not in the slightest, not one little bit. But do I think, right, the US government blew up the World Trade Centers, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, listen, there's evidence to suggest that they plotted it before and they never went ahead with it. There's lots of evidence it doesn't look good for them.
Upwards, right?
Yeah. So there's lots of evidence to say in the past, but for me, I'm saying there's no evidence. What I think is the likeliest thing to have happened at this point, from all the evidence we've collated, for me, I'm going to say probably the easiest thing to prove would be they knew there was going to be a terrorist attack and they turned a blind eye and they went and flew all the defense and weapons. They flew to the other side of the country. They ignored it. They allowed it to happen because it gave them an alibi. That's probably the most logical of all the theories that are out there. But I don't know if that one's even true. I don't know if any of them are true, but I certainly think that one is more plausible than the actual theory that was released.
Yeah, of course. It's like, I haven't looked too much into 9/11, but you understand like who was president at the time and
Yeah. 9/11's banging your head against a brick wall because even if you could prove, you can't ever do anything. There's nothing. So that's one of them where you're banging. You can't change, even if you change people's opinion on it. You can't change the outcome for the future. So let's say you find something else where you find how people align politically and stuff. You can start to change the future slowly. You can't with a past event like 9/11. But to be labelled a conspiracy theorist because you don't follow or because you question the actual because you question the actual official release to be labeled a conspiracy theorist. I think that's mad. If we're teaching people you shouldn't question stuff, we're fucked already.
Man. Yeah, that's what they want, mate. They want people to, like I said earlier, they want people to operate at a low vibrational frequency, just low.
Yeah.
You know, that's what they want, man. And it's like you said, with 9/11, I don't know what happened. Like, I'm sure at a later date there will probably be like some sort of inquest, or I think there was an inquest, but something will get released, and
Yeah.
maybe years and years later you find out. But yeah, I don't fucking people watch the news, like people watch the mainstream news, like BBC News and stuff like that, and go, yeah, this is like a credible news source and that. And it's like, when has the news ever done anything good for your life? Like, never. That news that you're watching is all fucking bullshit. It's all bullshit, 100% bullshit. Like, they didn't put anything in there which is gonna fucking benefit your life. But why would they do that? Maybe at the end, like maybe a fucking I don't know, something to do with a dog or something. They rescued a dog, like. Comic relief at the end, like just fucking put shit into your brain for the past like 25 minutes, just a complete bullshit. Yeah, I don't watch the news, mate. It's all shit.
Yeah, I can't tell you the last time I watched the news. I watch these daily coronavirus updates, and like they infuriate me even as much as that. Like with this virus at the moment, they infuriate me. Those things. What's that?
What's your take on this virus? What do you think is going on, mate?
So this is what I would say. I think every single person should assume that the virus is real and it's as bad as they say it is, just in case it is, and we should look after people. We should look after the NHS. We should assume that it is that bad, because if we're wrong, the consequences are really bad. So we should assume it's that bad. Okay, but what we shouldn't be doing is we should not be asking for governments to take away our freedoms to keep us safe. Like, but the amount of people who are screaming like, "Look, put us on lockdown, Boris, lock us away, Boris, we can't be trusted." I'm like, are you fucking insane? Like, no matter what happens out there, no matter what happens, you are better off forming vigilante groups and rounding people up in vans than you are asking the government to put the army on the street and keep us locked up. That there should never be a point in human history when we're asking. I mean, these people forgot that World War II wasn't long ago, and that's exactly what the Nazis were doing to people. Like, that. I know this is very different, like with the virus, but you're asking a government to lock you away, but be trusted with all your freedoms and independence. I mean, it's a very dangerous precedence to set. I think we have to. Society has to be a little bit more grown up. We have to be a little bit more sensible. Even if you don't believe it, even if you think it's all bullshit, that's cool. I can get on board with that. I'm happy with that. But let's just assume it's not. And then that way, they've got no reason to enforce these lockdowns and put martial law and put armies and militia on the street. We can deal with it all ourselves. Then at the end of this 5-6 weeks, however long it is, we can try and say, we did everything you wanted and nothing happened. Or we can try and say, okay, it was really bad, but we got through it because we listened. We were a sensible society, you know?
Ah, man, it's like the situation here is they closed everything a month ago, and then the Prime Minister went on the TV and she said from the 15th of April, they're going to start to open it really slowly. So kids from the age of 1 to 5 go back to school. But that's it. And then from the 15th of May, they got to evaluate it again. So they're going to open it really slowly here. I know that it's going to be like a couple month process. But what I'm seeing, but here we're allowed to go out. Like, it's fine. You're just not allowed more than 10 people together. That's it. But everyone's done that. And it seems like, oh, okay, like they've listened type of thing. I don't know if that would be the case in England, man, in the sense of, I was speaking to my friend from London and he goes, oh, mate, people are having like parties in the parking lot. Like, just fucking barbecues, just grilling, you know what I mean?
Crazy.
Just not giving a fuck. Like, and they're just living shit. And it's like, you know, I don't know, man. But at the same time, to give away your freedom, that's what you're essentially doing. If there's martial law where you can't even go out of your house, like that's what they do in South Africa and that. My mate's living in South Africa and he's like, yeah, we're on lockdown. We can only go out like to literally get something to eat, like on the fucking street. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it the Philippines where they're shooting people? Like shooting people if they're at their house. Like what? That's what people on Facebook or social media, let's say, that's what people are asking for in the countries. Like fuck them, shoot them. They shouldn't be ignoring the rules. I'm like, are you insane? Like what? What are you asking for? Do you think there's a way back from that? There's no way back. Once you give those powers away, there's no way back from that.
Dude, this is the thing. It's like I feel that they're just like fucking because the end is near for these people. I'll go in on that later on, but they're just like trying to fucking just push it as far as they can, you know, just that extra little bit, and then they know, okay, if we can get people in their houses, like what's it after that? Like you can't. You're not going to be able to send certain messages from your phone and that because they don't want people speaking about like fake things which are going on. They want to censor that. WhatsApp and you know, it's like what? It's only going to evolve, isn't it?
I mean, I can't like the censorship side of things blows my mind. This thing now where they're starting to punish people who criticise or say that the virus isn't real and all this. I'm like, hang on, whoa, back up a minute. Like, I I think spreading disinformation about the virus could potentially be bad if the virus is what they say it is. It could be bad, and I think everybody should assume that this virus is as bad as they say it is. But if I want to spread this information, anyone who's stupid enough to listen to me should be stupid enough, and they should pay the consequences of being stupid enough. I don't need you to step in and tell me that I'm now arrested because I want to tell people my opinion. Like what? How have we lived in? How do we now live in this dystopia where nobody can have their own opinion?
Operating at that low vibrational frequency. That's all they want. You know, they're just going to take to the point where the point of no returns. Like I said, as a society, we've been getting fucked for years, and now it's like that point where people are going, wait a second, like, why can't I leave my house? Like, why can't I leave my house? Because of this virus that's going on. And it's like, how many people have died from this virus? So say, you know? And then it's like, how many of those people had fucking previous problems before and just contracted this, you know? But they were in for something completely different. Oh, okay. How many people are above the age of 70? And then you start to see the statistics and you go, wait a second, like, what the fuck, man? What's really going on with this shit? Like, what is this? What is this thing?
What do you think it is?
Fuck, man. I think it's real, 100%. I remember back in December, I was sick as a dog for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I was so sick,
Yeah.
sick. I still went to training and that, like trying to do calisthenics, but I remember it was 2 weeks of I suffered, man, like fucking cold, like symptoms, coughing, all of that. I probably had it then, you know. I believe it's real. Like this virus is 100% real. It's 100% real. Is it as bad as what they say it is? Hell no. Hell no. I think it's as bad as they say it is. And the reason why is because, okay, I'm going to ask you a question, and you know, this might trigger some people, but we'll go there. This is what this podcast.
Hey, you trigger who you want. Listen, people can turn off and stop listening. It's not. I might not even agree with you. So like, people ain't got to agree with you. This is the problem. People can't listen to other people's opinion without wanting to turn them off or not. Like, just listen to people. If you think you're batshit crazy, that's up to you.
Yeah, for sure, man. So, do you, out of all the places to get this virus from, that some random place in China, out of all the places in the world, all the countries that just come out of somewhere in the middle of fucking nowhere, right? In the world, put like some city in wherever, right? So they're saying some Chinese dude or whatever fucking ate a bat and he got sick from eating a bat, and this is where this.
Well, listen, this is the thing. Further and further, they still haven't managed to prove that. They've only said that's only a theory. They've still not been able to prove it. So this for me is the biggest. that for me is the biggest red flag. And now they're saying, some scientists are saying, listen, there is a chance it was man-made. There is a chance that it came from bats and they were experimenting with the virus on other animals, and then that got into the food chain. Which, okay, I can get on board with, but let's be honest then. Stop telling people it's bats. Let's stop hating on Chinese people. Let's
Yeah,
not make this a
yeah,
nationality or a race thing. Let's go back to where we're saying this could be human error. So let's go back to the drawing board.
yeah. I don't think it's human error. I think this is like this is.
Release.
I think this is pre-planned. Of course, it's man-made. This virus is 100% man-made. No Chinese guy was eating a bat and got sick from this. The same way AIDS wasn't fucking designed by some guy fucking a monkey. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, this is all made. These things are made. Like they're made. And I feel that yeah, this was okay. So do you know much about Bill Gates and the Bill Gates Foundation?
Not much. I've seen his name pop up, and I've read a few things that align him with like a vaccine or something that I've read a few bits about.
Oh, Bill Gates is the devil. Bill Gates came back as the fucking devil, man. That guy is fucked. So basically, you got to remember, Bill Gates isn't a doctor. He's not a ophthalmologist. He doesn't work with medicine. Why would you fucking let someone that doesn't work with medicine, hasn't a clue about doctoring or anything like that, give you a vaccine? Does that not already seem like a bit shady to you? Like this guy is not a medical professional and he wants to give you a vaccine. Okay, all right, cool. But Mr. Gates and his wife Melinda, back in 2019, they did this experiment. It was called Agenda 21. You can look this up afterwards. Agenda 21, and it was an experiment they did on like a document, loads of paper and that, and it would be the effects of a global pandemic, like an outbreak.
Yeah.
And how they had it was a pandemic would occur in the States, it would go to Europe, and then it would go to China, and X would happen, X would happen, X would happen, and then if people didn't get like a vaccine, it would equal like 65 million people dead. It's called Agenda 21. That's something that you can read up. And then also the ID 2020 Club. Do you know what the ID 2020 Club is?
No.
Man, ID 2020 Club, Microsoft teaming up with Big Pharma and the World Health Organization, which is owned by fucking the Rothschild family, to give the digital ID cards. That's what they're after, digital ID cards. Right. What comes with digital ID cards? You're getting tagged, right? They're trying to push the vaccinations as well. They want to be able to tag you. And with this whole vaccine that they're trying to push, Donald Trump's guy's already come up with the cure. It's a malaria tablet. It's called hydroxychloroquine. It's had 90% success rate on corona victims.
Yeah.
Get a vaccine. You do not need to get a vaccine, especially from fucking... Okay, one thing I forgot to mention. Bill Gates, he owns 15% of the patents to coronavirus. So he owns 15% of the coronavirus. And the other percentage...
of COVID-19, not of COVID-19.
COVID-19, he owns 15% of the patents. And the rest of the percentage is owned by George Soros and the World Health Organization, which is owned by the Rothschild family. So every time a vaccine is made or is getting made, they get money from it. So this is why Trump's come out with this thing and gone, you don't need to get a fucking vaccine. Just take this malaria tablet. He's cutting these fuckers off, mate. All these shady people like that who are going to get the fucking death penalty, they're going to fucking hang in Guantanamo Bay, and I'm going to be watching from a fucking live stream eating a bag of popcorn. Hillary, Obama, all of these sick individuals will go back to England and talk about what's going on with the royal family too. There's some crazy shit going on. But back to the virus, that was definitely man-made, 100%.
I mean, it's what like so. I can listen to the stuff you said there, and I do listen to, and I find it interesting. I find it interesting that these people have got these links, and if it's like part of me, like, I want to always say, like, why? Why are they linked? And people are like, oh, well, that's nothing. No, let's not dismiss it. Why are they linked? Like, why? So, like, why is Bill Gates linked to these anti-vaccines and stuff like that? Like, a Microsoft engineer, like, so like, all these things just trigger questions in my head. I don't get lost in them, and I don't think that I don't straight away think that it's because of this or because of that, or I don't think that they're trying to. There's a global elite. That's not the way that my mind works. But immediately, questions come now with this virus per se. So when something like this happens with a virus like this, in my opinion, if this happens and it's legitimate and upfront, there should be questions asked and the answer should be really open, transparent. It should be quite easy to answer the questions and stuff. So it comes out, oh yeah, it was done. It was a bat ate in the Wuhan wet market. And it's like, well, hang on a minute, has that been confirmed? No. So why is every news station in the world saying that's where it is? Now we're like 7-8 weeks down the line and they still can't link the two. So right, let's now that we know that it hasn't been linked in this amount of time, let's put that on the news and tell people we don't know. Oh, you can't. You'll cause mass hysteria. So it's like, oh, right, well, okay, I get it. Like, people aren't sensible enough; they won't calm down. But at the same time, if you tell people, listen, there's this virus, we don't know how it started. It might have been man-made when we were doing experiments. We don't know, but you still have to stay in because the consequences are still the same. We're trying to figure out how to contain it now. At least then there's honesty, but you can't have honesty because the people can't be trusted. Well, that for me, there immediately you undermine everything that I think the world should stand for. Definitely. So that's one of my big issues. One of the other issues for me was the severity of measures that were being put in place did not correlate with the evidence coming back from deaths, etc., from the virus.
No,
So
dude.
I was like, well, hang on, I get, okay, so social distancing should have been practiced earlier on in the UK, definitely, I get that. Isolation, maybe, but
Yeah.
this lockdown, like all this locking down and building 4,000 beds in London that haven't even been used yet, plus then they start building 1,000 in Bristol, 1,000 in Wales, like, hang on a minute, we're not even hit capacity of what we've got. We've got 4,000 more, plus we're building like 6,000 more. Are we? Do you know some shit that we don't know? In which case, tell us like that. You should be honest with us. Or is it a control factor? Which either of the two things suggest you aren't telling us the shit we need to know. Then the UK government go and do that underhand shit where they pass those laws in Parliament the other week where they can now detain people and test them against their will, cremate them against their will, cremate them against their wishes. I'm like, hang on, if this is as open and shut as you say it is, just be transparent. Just that's my thing. I'm not saying that it is. Like, it could all be easily explained. Then explain it. That's all I'm asking for. Explain it.
Dude, you got it. You got it spot on there, mate. That was spot on. Yeah, man. It's just blatant. People, the more that this goes on, the more blatant it's gonna get, and it's like, soon enough, that what they're telling you isn't really what's going on. And when people find out what's going on, for some people, it's gonna be a really hard fucking pill for them to swallow, man. They're gonna have to swallow a red pill, and it's gonna be life changing, mate. It's gonna be life changing for them, but. This is, to me, like from what I've researched into the last few years and looking at what's going on, like, man, there's like to to put it into basic, like real super like simple sense, there's a military coup going on. That's what's going on. That's what's going on in Washington DC at the moment. There's a military coup. And with that, got the good side of the military industrial complex against the bad side of it, right? And once you have the military on your side, then it's over. It's over. It's over for these people. There's a lot of bad shit going on, man. There's a lot of bad shit going on with. Okay, so you've got the three main pillars. You've got the Vatican for
Keep
religion.
talking, brother. I'm just going to open the window. Keep talking.
Yes, oh, cool. no worries. So you got the Vatican in Italy for the religious part. You've got the financial district in the city of London for the finance part, and you've got the military in Washington D.C. Right? All three countries are separate countries within their own country, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
they're all separate, right? And there's a reason why they're separate, mate. And the same people that have been going to war for the past like 60, 70 years, same people that own central banks in every single country, the same people that are prime ministers, the same people that are presidents, the same people that are royals. They're in this one fucking group, mate. They're in this one group. This power system that we have at the moment has been going on for about 6,000 years. That's what's going on with this military coup. Is like it's the end of that power system. That's what's going on.
Yeah,
There's
I mean,
huge things going on.
I mean,
Like huge,
I don't know enough. I don't know enough about it. I don't know enough about like these hidden agendas, these families, Illuminati, all stuff like this. And
yeah.
people think because I like a conspiracy, people think I'm up to it, up on it. It's not. That's not. They're not. That's not the stance that I have. I'm not saying that there's a family that are ruling everything. I'm not saying that there's 12 people or a majestic number, or that's not my. And I'm not saying you're wrong for saying it. Like I just that's not my stance at all. I just simply don't know. My stance is question everything. And what alarms me is people on social media, and this is the best gauge for us. It's a terrible thing, social media, but at the same time, it's the best gauge for us of where society's at. And what bothers me is that two sides of an argument, both who neither have facts, are quick. The people who are, we'll call them the conspiracy theorists, for want of better phrase, because I hate those phrases, but the conspiracy theorists, the people who believe in that stuff. They are for all intents and purposes, they're not even trying to be right. It seems to me like what they're trying to do is they're trying to say, like, listen, this is going to help everyone out, this is what's actually going on, like this is the way to stop this. And it seems to come from, a lot of the time, it comes from a place of care, and it comes from a place of they want to change, want the world to be a better place. So I get that. And then what I see a lot of the time is from people who aren't on the conspiracy side, they're the opposite side, the complete. There's very few people down the middle, which, like, I would like to say I'm probably a bit more to the middle, probably lean towards the other side more than you, but probably a bit more down the middle. But the people who are like staunch to the right, they're so quick to tell anybody who has anything to do with conspiracy, you're wrong, that's crap, that's rubbish, oh, you're David Icke, you're mental, you're insane, you're absolutely crazy, you're an idiot, you're this. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. You do realise the only difference between what they believe and what you believe is different sources. It's where you got your sources of your information. That's the only difference. You can either believe the mainstream media, the reports that are put out, the scientific evidence is put out, or you can believe your counter scientific evidence, your media, your data. And I think people get lost in the fact that anybody who's got a conspiracy theory, even if you do think they're a bit cuckoo, which is entirely up to you if that's what you want to think. Anyone who's anyone who is that side, you have to understand that these people they're not trying to prove you wrong or make you bad. It comes from a sense of worry and a sense of care.
That's exactly it, Wes. That's exactly it. It's you're shining the light onto the dark. I'm a very spiritual person as well, man. But there's people who are spiritual and they don't want to look into this type of shit because it's dark. And they're like, no, it's like it's dark, this stuff. I don't want to look at it. And it's like you have to fucking shine the light on the dark, especially when there's fucking children involved and stuff like that. You can't just look away and go, oh yeah, like that's kind of fucked up, that stuff. Like I don't even want to think about it. It's like that's not a fucking option, man. There's kids. Like that's the fucking future. This shit involves kids, mate. Like it's fucking mad, dude. There's a lot of mad shit going on, and it's like these people that go, oh yeah, fucking conspiracies and it's all bullshit and that. like I said before, these people are gonna have a hard time swallowing that red pill, mate. They're gonna have a fucking hard time when this
Mate, I
information
mean,
comes.
this is the thing. Maybe, but at the same time, I can't take that stance because like, I can't assume you're right. The same, I can't assume they're right. Just
Yeah,
because that's how my mind works. There are things that make me ask questions, the
yeah,
same as they make you ask questions, but I don't necessarily reach a conclusion. I'm just left asking questions. But someone like yourself and other people, maybe because you're more well read on the subject, maybe because you've done more research, or maybe because that's the sort of person you are, you can reach a conclusion. As where I can, I'm still left with the questions, and I don't think. Well, hang on a minute. Bill Gates has done this. It's obvious he's working for the other side. That's not the way my mind works. My mind still goes, why is he doing that? And someone says, he's obviously doing this. I'm like, I get that, but I'd want some motive. What's the motive? What did he get out of this? Oh, it's control. I get that, but he's got loads of money. He's got all this anyway. So that's where my mind goes, further questions, and that's where I end up, just asking more questions.
of course. I know, and it makes sense, man, because you want the answers, but you gotta like when people get into this conspiracy stuff, especially what's going on as well, you have to understand who's ruling the world. Like people think, oh yeah, like it's the Illuminati. The Illuminati is just Freemasonry. It's someone that holds the stature of 33rd degree, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is. Like I one of my good friends, he was the youngest Mason to get introduced to be head Mason, and he was 15 years old at the time. And I
Yeah.
know that fucking really, really clever. I think you've met him a few times before. And with that you have like the Illuminati, so say the fucking cabal, the people that sort of running the world. But then you have people above that, and that's the people that don't. That's the people that people don't really look into. The real 1%, the Jesuits, the Society of Christ, the black noble families, which are noble Italian families. A lot of links with the fucking Vatican, man. A lot of links. So there was 12 noble families in Italy, and I think the four most powerful ones, you had the Orsini family, the Colonna family, the Farnese family, and the Genovese family. And for a long time in Genova, there was a big war between the Orsini family and the Colonna family, and this went on for hundreds of years. There was hundreds of deaths. That's the whole point of Shakespeare wrote Romeo and Juliet. That was based on those two families. But then a pope got in the way at one point and said, "Look, guys, intermarry and you can spread out, right?" So the Colonna family is probably one of the most powerful families in the world, in the sense of Christopher Columbus was from the Colonna family. He went to America to discover the land for Rome, for the Vatican. He discovered America for the Vatican, right? Cologne in Germany, that's owned by the Colonna family. The Colombo mob family, the Knights of Columbia, Columbia the country, Columbus, Ohio. These families own states, they own countries. The Pentagon, for example, that was a design of the Farnese family's backyard. They had a Pentagon. That's where the Pentagon came from. These guys own the Pentagon. That's the military part. They've got themselves, not only have they got themselves deep into like the society to do with money and that, because the Rothschild families and the like Rockefeller families, they're just from the same lineage. Their names got changed throughout history. They married one person on this side who was a noble, who married another noble, and that's what it is. If you trace their bloodlines back, it would go to these families, right? So when you say someone owns the military section, like I said, the Colonna family own the military part of Washington D.C. So when I said earlier there's a military coup going on, this is what's happening. The good part of the military are trying to take away the fucking bad part, all the corruption, everything is to do with that. The FBI, the CIA, fucking MI5, MI6 in England, Scotland Yard. Who do you think runs that? Who, if I told you who was the like chair like the chief of command with all those, who would you think it was?
All American ones.
No, American, English.
I have no idea, brother. I wouldn't even know where to go.
Okay, that's the Black Pope, Alfonso Sosa. You have three popes. You have the white pope, you have the grey pope, and you have the black pope. The white Pope is just a puppet. That's the fucking matey that you see kissing kids, all of that. That's the white Pope. The black Pope, Alfonso Sousa, he's in charge of all of that. He's in charge of the maritime law. Do you know what the maritime law is? The law of the sea, yeah? You
Yeah,
have
yeah.
the land and the law of the sea,
Yeah.
right? The Vatican own the maritime law. They own everything to do with shipping, delivery. That's what they own. Link it back. Who owns the financial district in the city of London? The Rothschild family. There's 2 crowns in England, okay? There's not 1 crown in England. Everyone thinks the Queen wears 1 crown. That's the only crown in England. There's 2 crowns in England. The 1 crown that she wears is for the publicity, for people to take their eyes off the other crown. The other crown in England, which is in the financial district, the city of London, separate, is owned by the 12 banks which make up the banks of England. The Bank of England, owned by the Rothschild family. Boom, you go to Italy, like I said before, with the religious sector, the Vatican, to do with that. You know, the Vatican owns a lot of shit, man, like a lot of stuff, and you wouldn't even expect it. They own 60% of Israel, and they just took the land from the Palestinians. That's how it is. The Vatican owns 60% of Israel. Why does a church own 60% of a country? That's when you have to start going into these things and looking at the history, and it's pretty fucking mad, mate. It's pretty mad.
I mean, I obviously have to take your word for a lot of it, just because it's not my area. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, I'll rumble over a JFK conspiracy, and I'll rumble over a bit of 9/11, and I see this with the viruses, and I'll post stuff on Facebook, and I'll be like, well, hang on, what the hell is this? But this, like, I mean, this ain't but I'm not. Listen, I'm not one of those people who's going to call you crazy. You're crazy. You're Alex Jones. You're David R. You're nuts for this. Like, that's not my thing. I've never been that guy. I'm like, well, hang on. Like, listen, if enough people are believing it, there has to be a little something. And we have to admit one thing. There seems to be a problem within the Catholic Church and fucking kids. That is a massive problem. Nobody can deny that. Also, then we've got things like Theresa May openly protecting people who are fucking kids. People like the Jimmy Savile thing, where the BBC protected him. Like, and I'm like, there's systemic child abuse within big corporations, within these big organisations. There's systemic child abuse, which obviously there's something going wrong. Now, I can't consign to the beliefs that you have, because I've not done enough research. That's not me saying, Sammy, that sounds nuts. I could never get on board with that. That's me saying, I don't know. I've not done enough research on it. But I'll agree there's some serious problems within the church and within big organisations in the UK and worldwide for child abuse. I mean, this Pizzagate thing that got thrown out at the end, or like whatever that. But even that just makes you raise eyebrows, and people sort of go now, well, yeah. What do you expect? What do I expect? I expect presidents and stuff not to be fucking kids. What do you mean? What do I expect? Like, what? And I'm not saying they were. What I'm saying is, like, there's a lot of this shit happening. There's a lot of this shit happening that's proven and is being swept under the carpets. People like prime ministers, etc., and stuff, are meant to be the people we trust to stop that, surely.
Right, like exactly what I was saying before about, I was just talking about the families and the ones that are running shit, and I said about, there's 3 popes. There's the white one, the black one, who's the chief in command, and you've got the grey pope called Pepe Orsini from the Orsini family, and he's the one. He's Trump's. He's the top. He's the fucking top man. So look into Pepe Orsini, and you'll start to know more about these noble families, and they're the ones that own things, like I said. But yeah, with this shit to do with kids and that, like, dude, they're doing fucked up shit, man, with these children. I'm a huge fan of Donald Trump, mate, and I've managed to convert a few people in the past few weeks just by speaking to them and letting them know what's going on, and just giving them some of my information that I've had, and they're well on board. Mate, Donald Trump is a fucking hero at this moment in time, because not only is he doing the most covert military intelligence operation of all time by going in and infiltrating this fucking old corrupt old power system that's going on, that's fucking taking place, right? He's saving all the children. He's saving all the fucking people that have been sold for human trafficking, organ trafficking. That's what's going on. This is what's going on. He's fucking going there and he's saving these fucking kids, which if some of them have never seen the light of day, you know, and they're just fucking sex slaves. They're getting fucking trafficked. They're doing shit and satanic rituals. These people are dark. They're into the dark arts. And, you know, for example, let's talk about England, right? Talk about England. You fucking Jimmy Savile. Jim will fix it. That guy. He was best friends with Prince Charles. He was best friends with Prince fucking Charles, man, a member of the royal family. And Jimmy Savile was essentially, he was the pimp. He was the one getting these kids because he had his fucking money in the foundations and the hospitals for disabled kids and that. These kids that couldn't fucking literally defend themselves. And they would get the fucking kids, give them to the royals, give them to the prime minister at the time, whatever, all these politicians. They do their fucking nasty shit, whatever they do with them. Sometimes they would even kill them. Bodies buried in Guernsey, right? The Queen's Island, Guernsey. It's got totally different laws to the laws of the UK. It's totally different. Totally different.
I don't like it. I mean, it's just it's hard when you see things like this Epstein stuff with like Prince Andrew, and the rules are so linked. Like for someone like me, it does make me ask questions. But I mean, again, it's not, my questions never go like as deep as yours, and I don't do any research in it. And part of me is a bit like, I just don't trust anyone. So part of me is just a bit like, well, yeah, I don't expect a family who's at the head of a nation to naturally be a good family. I don't expect a family who run a country, or a group of families who have constantly been in power within a nation. I don't expect those people to not be corrupt. That's just the way that it is. That's the way that it works in big business. That's probably going to be the way that it works in on a bigger scale globally.
Yeah.
It's, and people say like, oh, but why? Why would they be doing it? What? Like, I don't know. I don't have the answers. I don't know, and I can't even imagine, because listen, we can't argue with certain things. We can't argue that systemic child abuse is prominent in the church. We can't argue with that. Why is the church still around? Why are people still investing in the church? Why are people still putting their faith in the church when there's systemic child abuse throughout the whole church globally? I find that crazy. I find that mad. But they're the sort of questions I come up with, because if I have the questions that you have, like, I ain't got the fucking time to go deep like you have. Also, if I have those questions, I won't sleep. Do you know what I mean? There's no, like, I can't sleep.
Dude, like I said, it's about shining the fucking light on the dark. Like, you know, this isn't nice stuff. This isn't nice stuff. You know, they're doing shit to children. They've been doing shit to children for a long time. Fucking, they do certain rituals. You know, it's a cult. What does the word occult mean? It means hidden. It's like hidden rituals that they do. Like fucking sacrifices. They're into worshiping.
But why? This is the thing. So let's say you're right. Okay, let's just, for the sake of a good podcast discussion and the sake of understanding, let's say you're right. Why? Why? What's the end goal? Is it just a game where they continue to play for the rest of the time? What is why? Do you know what I mean? What's the answers for it?
These people are fucking like possessed almost. You know what I mean? They're fucking demonic. The stuff that they do, to get into the positions of the power that they've been in, they've had to do some fucking dark shit. You know, these people don't have a soul. These people aren't of light. These people are of dark, mate. These people are of dark. They chose the fucking path of darkness, mate. And whatever comes with that, they're not who you think they are, man. They're not who you think they are, and especially like. Yeah, to go back to fucking Jimmy Savile and that. I don't know if you've ever watched a documentary called Jimmy Savile and the Ninth Circle.
I don't know if I have. No.
Okay. It's on YouTube. It's called Jimmy Savile and the Ninth Circle. It's half an hour long. It basically goes into how in English politics, how it's rampant with paedophilia. This has been going on for fucking ages. It goes to do with the royals. Prince Charles talks about the Queen. It talks about the Queen and her husband back in the 40s. They would visit Canada. They would visit this place in Canada which had indigenous native people. There was an orphanage. And they would take these kids, they'd go there once a year or something. They would take these kids out for lunch to the woods and that, and just 2 or 3 of them wouldn't come back. They wouldn't come back. And later on, I think back in 2013, the Queen got prosecuted for this, for the disappearance of those kids. With I think it was something stupid, like a stupidly high number, and the disappearance of 50,000 other kids. She got prosecuted by a tribunal in Brussels. That's the stuff people you're not going to read on the news. Like, this has been going on for ages. This has been going on for ages with the monarchy, with the royals, with these people in power. Like Trump, for example, people, when he was going against Hillary, people were fucking cheering for Hillary to win. Like, they were cheering for her to win. They wanted her to win.
Yeah.
They didn't want Trump to win. It's like, fuck, man. Like, it's insane, man.
There comes the next question, right? So if they are that powerful and they can control all this shit, why couldn't they control the election and make sure that Hillary got in?
She was never meant to lose. She was never meant to lose.
So how did it come? So what did they just assume and it like that he was gonna obviously be a mockery? Or
as soon as Trump got in, right? They didn't think he was going to get in. They didn't think he was going to get in. But Trump, for example, like he was working with the good part of the military-industrial complex, right? He got in. Donald Trump got in. They never thought in a million years that he was going to get in.
Right, okay, but if you're that big, if you have that much control, why can't you stop these people getting in? Like why couldn't they have ensured that Hillary got in?
I think they tried, mate. I think they tried. They tried.
Like these are where the little gaps appear for me, you see, and it's not like that's not to say you're nuts. I don't believe you. What I'm saying is now I got a question to the contrary. Then I'm gonna have another question, and before you know it, I'm 5 days in. I haven't slept. I'm wearing the same pants that I've now got to peel off myself, like because that's the way my mind works. But and there, people are going to listen to this. They'll turn you off. I know that. Like, you know that. And people are going to be like, oh, he's an idiot. Listen, one thing I know, Sammy ain't mad. He's very much not mad. He's not an idiot. He is very astute. He's a nice guy. He's a genuine guy. He's a caring guy. So even, let's say in 5 years' time, all this comes out that Sammy was completely wrong and there's evidence to prove it. Sammy won't be a bad guy. Sammy will be a lovely guy who was looking out for what he thought was the best interest of everyone. If it came out that Sammy was right about all this shit, the people who are listening to say, oh, you're a fucking idiot, you're a twat, you're a fucking idiot. You have no finding for assuming that other than what you believe. Like, there's no... This is what I keep saying to people. I choose not to believe what you've said because I haven't done enough research. So I don't believe what you've said. I know for a fact there's a problem with child abuse in the Catholic Church. Everybody knows that. That's documented. We know that. I know that it's been hidden, it's been masked. People are still working within politics who are proven to be involved in it. So we know all those things. We know that they're fact. So I believe them. I don't believe a lot of the stuff you've said, and that's not to also say that I disbelieve it. I don't believe it because I don't believe something that someone's told me. I have to go away and I have to research it and I have to look for evidence. But just because there's not evidence to support it does not mean that it's not true either. Because like, listen, there's not a lot to prove gravity exists, but they can do tests and they can prove this is gravity. Okay, well, show me what gravity is. Well, we can't show you what gravity is because it's not an actual thing. Right. So it's very difficult to prove gravity exists if you want me to give you something. So evidence can be very subjective. So for me, I'll listen to you. I'm not saying I'll believe any of it or I won't disbelieve any of it. I'll give everyone the chance and I'll listen to them. And I think that's what people miss. They're so right-wing or so the other way that they miss the fact of, hang on, I should listen to the story. Because, listen, O.J. Simpson got off with a murder case. So you had to sit in that. You had to sit in there, and you had to listen to two sides of evidence,
Right.
and people acquitted him of murder based on evidence. So for me, I'm like, listen, after this point, everyone deserves both sides of evidence to be listened to.
Mate, exactly, dude. And it's like that what you were talking about earlier, Pizzagate, with what was going on there, and like Trump was never meant to win, and now that he won, he's been going after all these people since he got into office. As soon as he got into office, he just was signing bills like a motherfucker, just signing bills, just waiting for this time now. And within the 1 year of his presidency, the first year, he signed as many laws to do with child trafficking and sex trafficking, human trafficking, than any of all the presidents combined.
Yeah.
That's the first thing he did. He was just signing bills like a motherfucker. So now there's bills in place where if someone gets done for corruption or human trafficking, they get all their assets seized. Everything gets seized. So he knew what this plan has been going on for years in the making. This isn't just something new. This has been going on for like they tried doing it before with JFK, and they got rid of him. He wanted to introduce his own money in rather than get it from the Federal Reserve and that. And they got rid of him, unfortunately. And this has been a plan in the making since. And they just needed that person who's not a fucking politician. He's not a politician. He's a businessman. He's been around these people because he had money for a long time. He knows how they operate. He knows who's shady. And he's going after Hillary. He's got
I mean, like anyone who's done any research into Hillary and the Clintons has got. If that doesn't make your ears perk up, you don't have to go balls deep like you are. Like I'm not by any stretch of imagination. But if you can look at the Clintons and you can look at that Clinton Foundation and think, hang on a minute, people randomly dying, people killing themselves. Like what the fuck? Like there's something anybody should be able to look at that situation and would come out of it and be like, something's not right here.
Mate, that fucked the Clintons. Obviously, when Bill was governor of Arkansas, letting all the drugs, all the cocaine in, do you know what I mean? Just letting it all.
And that's proven, documented and proven. That's the thing. Like,
it's like,
yeah. People forget this. Like, it's so documented that Tom Cruise starred in a film about it. Like, that's how documented it is that presidents are corrupt enough that they let the drugs in.
Yeah.
Because it funds them. Like people forget these things. So listen, I'm not saying that's it. That's enough evidence that I'm now believing Sami. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like, listen, that's enough to make my ears perk up, and that's all people need to do. People need to stop assuming they have the answers to this shit, and stop without doing any research. Instantly dismissing Alex Jones, instantly dismissing David Icke, yourself. I mean, David Icke's fucked because he called people lizards. So that was you're gone. Once you start,
that's a different podcast, mate.
yeah, that like he was fucked. I mean, even if that is true, you had to break it so a little bit different. Yeah. So David Icke is a bit out for me, but you can't dismiss these people if you're not going to listen to them. And if you're someone who stood on the outside saying he's a fucking idiot, I'm not listening to that, you're the problem. You're the problem because the reason you become the solution is you listen to him and you find ways to prove that he's wrong. And then I believe you. At the moment, I might be the guy teetering in the edge. Like you can't just say he's a fucking idiot, I'm not listening to him. Listen, I know him, he's not a fucking idiot. He's a nice guy. I know all these things about him. He's not all those things. So now you've alienated me from you because of the way you approach this. Just constantly say, okay, listen, I'll prove to you all the reasons he's right. Boom. Then I'm like, okay, yeah, well that guy, well Sami, I'm with this guy again, and that's how I go. I bounce between because I'm going to listen to whoever presents. And like I said, dude, you can come on here anytime and you can put your point across because anyone, like, I'll listen to anyone,
Yeah, man. Yeah, Alex Jones is not on the good team. I'll tell you that right now. Alex Jones works for the bad team.
Yeah.
He always has. Yeah. He's not part of not part of the good guys. They have people like that. They have people like Alex Jones and Tom DeLonge pushing all the UFO stuff, and that's part of it,
Distract them.
the information that they know, like no one could be able to know that. That wouldn't be able to be out on mainstream. They tell them what's going on basically, but if someone was to know that, they would fucking get suicided. Look how many people have got suicided, or fucking going back to the Clintons and that. They got body counts, mate. She has a body count. So the end goal is this. The end goal is what I believe is they're saving the children at the moment. The children will get saved, okay? After that, they're going to go after all of these people. There will be mass arrests. There will be people that will die, commit suicide, get sick, whatever. And then there's going to be a fucking live broadcast of these people getting done for treason, capital punishment in Guantanamo Bay. And that's what's going to happen. And once we get...
When do you envisage this? When do you envisage this is happening, brother?
This is happening right now. This has been going on for the past like 6-7 days.
So how long have we got? How long? On your thinking, how long have we got as we still are now? As we still know things now, how long have we got before we really start to publicly see change?
I reckon in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks. This week's going to be real soon. I think this week's going to be really important because it's Good Friday and Easter weekend. And just it's biblical. We're living in biblical times at the moment, and obviously Easter weekend is when Jesus resurrected. And I think that some information is gonna come out this weekend where it's gonna shake up a lot of people. And I think the next 2-3 weeks are gonna be super important. But this weekend, I really truly believe something's gonna happen. And once we get these people out of the fucking system, like once this happens and these people are away, and it's going to take a little bit of time to readjust, but after that time we can all come together and we can create that fucking utopia that we've always dreamed of. And it's going to be with the release of free energy. The release of free energy is what's going to fucking help this and guide us along the next stage of our evolution. That's what Trump's trying to do. He's trying to release free energy as well. That's what people don't understand.
I mean, so I can't be as supportive of Trump as you are. I don't dislike him. I can't like him either. I think he's done some shit and he said some shit that makes me a bit like, oh.
What he said that made you grab him by the pussy?
No, all sorts of random stuff like that. Just the way that he phrases himself on TV and the way that he acts and some things that he says. And I think dude, if you are the guy, if you are the Messiah, if you are the Savior, come on, you've got to be able to communicate better than this, for fuck's sake. He said some stuff, and I'm like, he's just said some, the way that he's handled some stuff around black people, sexism, blah. I don't think he's racist in the slightest. At no point do I think Donald Trump's racist. But he says stuff that alienates people, and I think you're the person who doesn't need to be doing that right now. And I don't know. I don't know enough about American economics and stuff as well to know how the country's going. But I just think if it is true, he was probably the best person to be in this position because he doesn't give a fuck. But at the same time, if it is true, they could have picked someone who could articulate a bit better,
He's the thing is, he is a bit of an oaf on that, but at the same time, he's just, he trolls a lot of people. He trolls a lot of fucking people. So
stay off Twitter. That would have been That would have been the start. Stay off Twitter.
A lot of people, man. So the stuff that you see with him on the news and that, the way that they portray him to be what was this racist that wanted to build the wall and that in Mexico? The reason why he wanted to build that wall in Mexico was to stop the fucking sex trafficking, to stop the drugs, to stop. That's where they all come from, south of the border. That's why he wanted to build the wall.
Listen, even when he proposed the wall, what he said made sense to me in that he sort of, from what I heard, I didn't hear anything racist. I sort of heard him say, "Listen, Mexico, sort your shit out, or we build a wall. It's that simple. Are you going to sort your shit out? You're not going to, so I'm going to sort your shit out." But I'm always against building walls anywhere. I'm like, everyone needs freedom, but if it is what you're saying, then I can listen. I can only argue from the 21st century idea of this is the world I've grown up in, and he comes across as mad. But when people come across as mad, to me, I don't dismiss them immediately. It makes me want to listen a little bit. I want to hear, So it's interesting. It's interesting times.
For sure, man. And it's like the same, it goes back to the same point of the news that you watch on the TV, it's going to be misguided almost. And they make him out to be like this guy that, is a bit of a racist, a bit like a fucking oaf, like a businessman. But yet they don't talk about all the sex trafficking laws he's putting in. They don't talk about him trying to help people, black people, lowest unemployment rate in fucking history, that type of shit. They don't want to put it up. But, like I said, mate, some things are going to happen real soon, and people's eyes are going to have to open, and they're going to have that.
So part of me, I mean, I don't give a fuck what happens. Like, I'm one of those people. I'm very much like, listen, if I can go back paragliding and stuff, but at the same time, like, part of me hopes it does, so that people like you stop getting discredited. Part of it does, because if it does, it would imply that everything you said, if it does happen, then it's going to be for the better, which I want to live in a better world anyway. So all of those reasons I want them to. For other reasons, I would say, like, well, I don't, like, who wants to fucking live in a world that is actually confirmed as being like that? So it's not that I'm on the fence. You knew my stance before any of this, before we had this conversation. I'm not going to agree with most of the stuff you say, and it's because there's not enough evidence for me. But is there not enough evidence because I haven't done the research? I don't know. But I'm always going to listen to you because I appreciate you as a person. Do you know what I mean? So I'm always going to listen to you because I think anything that you come at me or any of these people with is from a place of love. Do you know what I mean? And I know that about you. So I was always going to listen to you. But yeah, I hope some shit comes out, and I hope some stuff does, and we'll see how that goes. And I fucking, like, part of me always wants to say I hope you're right, and then part of me wants to say I fucking hope you're not, just because it's such a dramatic change.
Out there.
It's just like I'm not one of those sheep people. I'm not one of those people who thinks that 5G and coronavirus are linked and it's the same thing. I don't know. Perhaps it is to do with 5G. Perhaps it's not. But there has to be more evidence for me. And at the same time, what you've said, the things that you say, there's obviously enough evidence and enough support and stuff for you to build up the thought process and build up the opinion that you have. So I just haven't looked at that evidence. So who am I to tell you you're wrong? I can't tell you you're wrong. I can just say it's just not what I believe at this point.
Of course, mate, and I appreciate that as well. And you have an open mind. That is all what is needed. An open mind is what is needed. Nothing else. If you have a closed mind, then you're not gonna, like I said, that pill's gonna be a little bit fucking hard for you to swallow. But people with an open mind, they're gonna listen and go, yeah, you know what? Like, why is a fucking non-medical doctor trying to push vaccinations and that? That's a bit weird. Like, and it gets them thinking, and they might not believe everything that they read and stuff, but slowly over time, the seeds have been planted, and throw a bit of water on, and the plant's going to grow, and it's going to...
I mean, how much crazier is what you're saying, really, than if I tell you that this world was built by people taking ships over to other countries with horses on them, running around the country, killing everyone, and drawing imaginary lines on them. Like that. How is what you're saying more crazy than what I've just said? And we know what I said happened because it's history. That's how the world became. So...
And those families that I was talking about, they're the ones that were doing that type of shit. It's fucking mad. It's madness. But here's the thing: it's very strange times. People are a bit like fuck. They don't know what's going on, and it's fair enough. But during this time, it's almost like a reset in the sense of what we were speaking about in the beginning, where you can focus on things that you really need to focus on, and like educate yourself and read more, or do what you want to do, which you don't necessarily have the time for it all the time. And now you get to do it because of this.
Exactly, yeah. I think if anyone listens to this, if they get part way through or all the way through, if anyone listens to this and says, fuck this shit, what a load of bollocks, that was a waste of an hour and a half of my life. If you do that,
Yeah.
Go and spend the time to research some of the stuff that Sam has said. I'm not saying I'm going to do that. I'm saying, like, if you're the sort of person who said, fuck what this guy said, he's an idiot, then you
Yeah.
owe him the time to go and spend an hour or two just researching and see if any of it can resonate with you. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to resonate with you, but do it. Why not? Like, it's not like, like I said, Sam is one of my good friends, and I've sat here openly and said, listen, I don't believe what you've said. I'm not of the same mind that you don't think the same as I think, but at the same time, I'm also not dismissing what you've said because I simply don't know and I don't have enough evidence either way. So I've got to be one of those people who say, I'll listen to what you've got to say to me. I'll listen to a video clip if you send it over to me. I'll watch a little bit. I'm going to be honest with you. Will I go away now and spend 2 hours doing it rather than writing my book? No, of course not. But if you send me a little link with something and I looked at it, I'll sit and I'll watch it, yeah, out of courtesy, and something might resonate. And I think that's all that people can do is just be open-minded enough to say, I'll listen to stuff when it comes out.
Exactly. That's
So,
exactly it. Have an open mind with it, and never know. You might hear something which is a bit intriguing, and
exactly, mate.
go
Exactly.
down the hole for 6 hours.
And mate, listen, it's one of those things as well. Like if things start happening this week, we can catch up again next week and we can review where this is at. And you can say, "Wes, did you notice this happened?" Just stay in touch with me. Like I've enjoyed talking to you, like I always do. I mean, I've enjoyed talking to you about calisthenics, and this is another thing. Go, no matter what you've heard from Sammy with his political stance with the virus, and go and follow him on Instagram, Facebook, etc. Follow him on social media because his calisthenics stuff is definitely worth following. 100%. The guy is not a whack job. He is not an Alex Jones. He is not crazy. He's a lovely guy who genuinely should get your follow because he knows his shit when it comes to calisthenics and stuff, and he might know his shit on this. I have no idea. So follow him, link him on. I'll tag it all in the Instagram and stuff anyway. But honestly, the people who have listened, like I'm grateful that you came on and spoke to me, man. I've really enjoyed the podcast. If these are just a chat, they don't have to be about any certain subject. And the fact we sat down and talked about this for an hour and 36 minutes, you've maintained composure and you're cool. I've got different opinions. I've maintained my composure and
Yeah,
cool. That's the way we should be interacting, you know?
of course, mate. It's like that's what communication is, right? It's you you speak to me and I go, how is he feeling, rather than what am I going to say next or how does this affect me? I'm thinking about you, and that's what a real conversation is.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Exactly.
on that,
Well,
that's right.
listen, thanks for joining me. I'm gonna hit this off. Thanks for joining me on here, brother. Honestly, I'm gonna link all of your options in so people can follow you and stuff. But it was a pleasure and I loved it.
What awesome. One last thing. If you're, I'm gonna give a little shout out to my friend's nutrition company, if that's all right.
Oh, mate, as many shouts as you want, mate. That's what these things are for. So you go ahead, brother.
So Eight Nutrition, on Instagram, APE, apenutrition.co.uk. Uh, keto bars, MCT oil, CBD drops. If you use the code SAMI10 at the checkout, capitals, you get 10% off. Primalalchemy.co.uk. Primal Alchemy on Instagram. Have a look at him. That guy's really fucking clever, man, and he knows a lot about what's going on too, and he's got some really good brands as well. And yeah, and thank you, Wes, for having me. And
Brother, you're more than welcome. I'll try and get some links to your sponsors and stuff up as well, but I'll make sure links to your stuff's in anyway, mate. So when you share this, share it with all the 8 nutrition stuff as well, dude.
I will, man. Nice one,
Thank
dude.
you, brother.